Pay attention to this security camera footage from a quick trip in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The girl getting into a gray Nissan Altima at 11:47 p.m. is 15-year-old Madison Reed. She's wearing her robotics team hoodie and carrying a duffel bag. The man standing next to the car is Derek Vaughn, a 41-year-old software engineer from Minneapolis. She believes he loves her. What she didn't know is that she had 6 days left to live. On October 19, 2018, Madison's mother called 911 when her daughter didn't come home from school. By the time police traced the quick trip footage, Madison and Derek were already 600 miles away. What investigators discovered on Madison's laptop would reveal a grooming operation so methodical, so psychologically sophisticated, that it would change how law enforcement understood online predation. Madison Reed was the kind of daughter parents bragged about. At 15, she maintained a 4.2 GPA at Edison Preparatory School, captained the robotics team, and volunteered at the Tulsa Animal Shelter every Saturday. Her bedroom walls were covered with acceptance letters from summer STEM programs. MIT, Stanford, Caltech. She was going places. Her parents, Jennifer and Robert Reed, were attentive but not overbearing. Jennifer worked as a pediatric dentist, earning $180,000 annually. Robert taught history at Tulsa Community College. They ate dinner together every night. Madison had a 10 p.m. curfew on weekdays, midnight on weekends. She never missed it. But beneath the perfect daughter exterior, Madison was struggling. Her best friend, Kayla, had moved to Seattle in August. The robotics team had new members who treated her like an outsider despite her captain status. At school, she felt invisible, too smart for the popular kids, too ambitious for the nerds who resented her success. She was lonely, and loneliness made her vulnerable. In July 2018, Madison joined Discord to collaborate on a coding project. She created the username MadisonSTEM15 and joined several programming servers. On July 23rd, she received a direct message from Code Mentor DV. "Hey, saw your question in the Python channel. I'm a software engineer. Happy to help if you're stuck." It seemed harmless. It wasn't. Derek Vaughn had been careful his entire life. At 41, he'd worked for TechSource Solutions in Minneapolis for 12 years, developing database systems. Married for 9 years to a woman who worked in pharmaceutical sales. No children. Derek had insisted early on that he didn't want kids. His wife assumed it was career focus. The truth was darker. Derek was attracted to teenage girls, not exclusively. He'd had relationships with adult women, including his wife, but his sexual fantasies centered on girls aged 13-16. He'd managed this carefully, never acting on it, consuming legal content that skirted ethical boundaries but never crossed legal lines. Then he discovered Discord. The platform's anonymity was intoxicating. He created multiple accounts, each with a different persona. Code Mentor DV was his favorite, the helpful, patient older man who guided young programmers through difficult problems. He joined servers focused on STEM education, gaming, anime, anywhere teenagers congregated. He never solicited immediately. He built relationships slowly, establishing himself as trustworthy, knowledgeable, kind. He helped with homework. He listened to their problems. He became the understanding adult they didn't have in their lives. Most conversations went nowhere. The teens lost interest or their parents monitored too closely. But occasionally, Derek found someone receptive, someone lonely, someone like Madison. The first week, Derek simply answered Madison's coding questions. Professional, helpful, nothing inappropriate. Madison appreciated having a mentor who explained things patiently, unlike her robotics teammates who made her feel stupid for asking. Week 2, Derek started asking about her life. How was school? What were her college plans? Madison, starved for someone who cared, opened up. She mentioned feeling isolated, missing her best friend, struggling to fit in. Derek was sympathetic. High school is brutal. I was the same way, too ambitious for my peers. It gets better in college, I promise. Week 3, he introduced mild criticism of her parents. They sound great, but do they really understand your coding passion? Or do they just see it as a college application boost? Madison hesitated, then admitted, "Sometimes I think they care more about my achievements than me." "That's tough," Derek wrote. "You deserve someone who sees you, not just your accomplishments." He was planting seeds. By late August, they were messaging daily, sometimes 50-plus messages. Derek timed his responses carefully, available when her parents were at work, understanding when she couldn't reply immediately. He asked about her day, remembered details, offered advice. In September, he started sharing personal information. He claimed he was 28, recently divorced, working in tech in Kansas City. Close enough to seem accessible, far enough to seem safe. He sent photos, stolen from a fitness blogger's Instagram. Madison thought he was attractive. "You're really pretty," Derek wrote in late September. "I bet guys at your school don't appreciate you." "They don't even notice me," Madison replied. "Their loss. If I were your age, I'd definitely notice you." Madison's heart raced. An older, attractive man thought she was pretty. She knew it was probably inappropriate, but it felt good to be seen. Derek sensed the opening. "You know, age is just a number. What matters is connection. And I feel like we have that." "Me too," Madison typed. The grooming was complete. Quick question before we continue. Did you see the red flags in Derek's messages, or did they seem innocent at first? Drop your answer in the comments, and while you're there, let me know where you're watching from. If you're finding this story as disturbing as I do, hit that subscribe button so you never miss these deep dives into real cases. Now, back to Madison, because what happens next shows just how fast everything spirals out of control. In early October, Derek suggested they move to a more private platform, Signal, an encrypted messaging app. "Discord isn't totally secure," he said. "I don't want anyone seeing our conversations." Madison downloaded Signal without questioning why privacy mattered. The conversations became increasingly romantic. Derek called her beautiful, brilliant, special. He said he'd never felt this way about anyone. He mentioned his divorce had been painful, but meeting Madison made him believe in love again. Madison knew intellectually that a 28-year-old interested in a 15-year-old was wrong. But Derek never made her feel like a child. He treated her as an equal, asked her opinions, valued her thoughts, made her feel mature. On October 10th, Derek made his move. "I can't stop thinking about you. I know this is complicated, but I think we should meet." Madison's stomach flipped. "I don't know. My parents would never allow it." "Then don't tell them. You're smart enough to make your own decisions. They don't control your life." "But how would we even—" "I'll come to you, pick you up. We'll spend a weekend together, just us. No parents telling you what to do, no classmates judging you, just two people who understand each other." Madison wanted this more than she'd wanted anything. To feel chosen, to feel loved, to escape. "Okay," she typed, "but we have to be careful." Derek sent her detailed instructions. "Pack light. Bring cash if possible. Delete our messages. Meet me at the Quick Trip on 41st Street at 11:45 p.m. on October 18th. I'll handle everything else." Madison asked one question. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe. Somewhere you'll be happy. Trust me." She did. Madison told her parents she was sleeping over at her friend Emma's house, a lie she'd never told before. Jennifer and Robert, trusting their perfect daughter, didn't verify. Madison felt guilty but excited. She was finally taking control of her life. She packed a duffel bag, clothes, toiletries, her laptop, $340 she'd saved from birthday money. At 11:30 p.m., she snuck out through her bedroom window, something she'd only seen in movies. Her heart pounded as she walked the 8 blocks to the Quick Trip. Derek's Nissan Altima pulled up at exactly 11:47 p.m. Madison approached the passenger side. Through the window, she saw him clearly for the first time. He looked older than his photos, significantly older. Madison froze. This wasn't the 28-year-old from the pictures. Derek smiled. "Madison, get in, sweetheart. It's cold out there." Every instinct screamed at her to run, but she'd already lied to her parents, snuck out, walked 8 blocks. She'd committed. And Derek's voice was so familiar, so reassuring. She got in. "You look confused," Derek said gently. "I know I look different from my photos. I've been stressed lately, but it's still me." "How old are you really?" Madison asked. Derek paused. "Does it matter? Age is just how old?" 41. "But Madison, listen." She reached for the door handle. Derek grabbed her wrist, not violently, but firmly. "Where are you going to go? Back home? And tell your parents that you snuck out to meet a man from the internet? They'll ground you for months. They'll take your phone, your laptop. You'll lose everything." Madison's eyes filled with tears. "You lied to me. I didn't lie about caring for you. That's real. Everything we talked about, that connection, it's real. I just knew you wouldn't give me a chance if you knew my age. And that's not fair, is it? To dismiss someone because of a number? Madison's mind raced. He was right. She couldn't go home and explain this, but staying felt wrong. Please, just take me home. We'll talk about it, Derek said, putting the car in drive. But first, let's get away from this parking lot, in case someone recognizes you. He drove. Madison watched the quick trip disappear in the side mirror, and with it, her last chance to escape. Jennifer Reed knocked on Madison's bedroom door at 7:15 a.m. on October 19th. No answer. She opened the door and found the bed empty. She called Emma's house. Madison? She's not here. She never came over. Jennifer's blood went cold. She called Robert at work. They called the school. Madison never showed up. At 2:47 p.m., they called the police. Detective Angela Torres from the Tulsa Police Department's Missing Persons Unit initially treated it as a runaway case, statistically most likely for a teen with no history of trouble, but something felt wrong. Madison's phone was off. Her laptop was gone, but her charger remained. She'd taken clothes but left her retainer, which she wore every night without fail. Torres obtained a warrant for Madison's laptop cloud backups and social media accounts. What she found made her stomach drop. Months of messages with code Mentor DV. She watched the grooming unfold in real time, the slow manipulation, the escalating intimacy, the final arrangement to meet. She immediately contacted the FBI. This was no longer a runaway. This was an abduction. The FBI's Crimes Against Children unit traced code Mentor DV to Derek Vaughn. His credit card showed a gas station purchase in Wichita, Kansas, on October 19th at 3:22 a.m. He was heading north. An Amber Alert was issued. Derek Vaughn's photo, license plate, and car description broadcast across 6 states. What happened over the next 6 days was pieced together from Derek's interrogation, forensics, and Madison's diary, found later in Derek's car. Derek drove Madison to a motel outside Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He rented a room under a fake name, paying cash. Madison, exhausted and terrified, asked again to go home. Just give it a few days, Derek said. Let things calm down. Then we'll figure it out. He kept her phone off, monitored her constantly. When she tried to leave, he blocked the door. I'm not holding you hostage, he insisted, but if you leave now, you'll ruin both our lives. Just trust me. Madison's diary entry from October 20th. I made a terrible mistake. He's not who I thought he was. I'm scared, but I'm also ashamed. How do I explain this to my parents? To the police? Everyone will think I'm stupid. Maybe I am. Derek was gentle with her. No physical violence, no sexual assault. He bought her favorite foods, let her watch TV, talked to her for hours about their future together. The psychological manipulation was comprehensive. He convinced her that going home meant humiliation, that staying meant love. But Madison was smarter than Derek anticipated. On October 23rd, while he showered, she managed to turn on her phone for 43 seconds and send one text to her mother. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm in South Dakota. I want to come home. Please help. The message pinged a cell tower in Sioux Falls before Derek emerged and confiscated the phone. But it was enough. FBI agents and Sioux Falls police surrounded the Starlight Motel at 6:12 a.m. on October 24th. Derek answered the door calmly, hands visible. She's inside. She's fine. I didn't hurt her. Madison emerged pale and shaking. She saw her parents standing behind the police barricade and burst into tears. Jennifer ran to her, wrapping her in a hug so tight Madison could barely breathe. Derek was arrested without incident. His only statement, I love her. That's not a crime. Derek Vaughn's trial began May 7th, 2019. He faced federal charges, enticement of a minor, interstate transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, and possession of child sexual abuse material. Investigators found illegal content on his laptop, unrelated to Madison. Federal prosecutor Nathan Reeves presented the evidence methodically. 4,782 messages showing calculated grooming, forensic analysis of Derek's manipulation tactics, testimony from child psychology experts explaining how predators exploit vulnerability. Madison testified on June 3rd. She described the loneliness that made her susceptible, the slow escalation of Derek's messages, the moment in the car when she realized she'd been deceived. Defense attorney Paul Corrigan tried to suggest Madison had pursued the relationship willingly. "At what point did you tell Mr. Vaughn you were uncomfortable?" Corrigan asked. "When I saw him," Madison said quietly, "when I realized he'd lied about everything." "But you got in the car anyway." "Because I was 15 and scared, and he made me think I had no choice." The jury saw through Corrigan's strategy. After 4 days of deliberation, they returned guilty verdicts on all counts. Sentencing: 35 years in federal prison. At sentencing, Jennifer Reed addressed the court. "Derek Vaughn didn't kidnap my daughter with a gun. He kidnapped her with patience, with lies, with exploiting her loneliness. He stole 6 days of her life and years of her sense of safety, and he did it all while calling it love." Derek, given a chance to speak, said, "I never meant to hurt her. I genuinely cared about Madison. I still do. But I understand now that my feelings were inappropriate. I'm sorry." The judge, Honorable Margaret Castellano, responded coldly. "Mr. Vaughn, you groomed a child with the precision of an engineer solving a technical problem. Your apology is insufficient and unconvincing. You will serve your sentence in full." Madison Reed is now 21. She attends Oklahoma State University, majoring in computer science with a minor in psychology. She still experiences nightmares, still struggles with trust, still attends therapy every week. In 23, she gave her first public interview to raise awareness about online grooming. "People think it can't happen to smart kids," Madison said, "but intelligence doesn't protect you from loneliness. I was so desperate to feel valued that I ignored every red flag." And Derek knew exactly how to exploit that. She now works with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, speaking to teenagers about online safety. She's brutally honest. "I was groomed. I made bad decisions. But I was also 15, and he was 41. There's no universe where that's my fault." Derek Vaughn is incarcerated at FCI Terre Haute in Indiana. He has no visitors. His wife divorced him in 2019. In a 2024 prison interview with a criminal psychologist, Derek claimed he'd changed. "I've spent 6 years reflecting on what I did. I understand now that I hurt Madison. But I also think society is too rigid about age differences. If we'd met when she was 25, no one would care." The psychologist noted in her report, "Subject demonstrates cognitive distortion regarding age-appropriate relationships, continues to minimize harm caused, poses ongoing risk." Jennifer and Robert Reed divorced in 21. The trauma of Madison's abduction fractured their marriage in ways neither could repair. Jennifer still lives in Tulsa. Robert moved to Oregon. Both maintain relationships with Madison, but the family that existed before October 18, 2018, is gone. The Reed family's case led to increased scrutiny of platforms like Discord. In 20, the company implemented new child safety features, AI monitoring for grooming language, mandatory age verification for certain servers. Critics argue it's insufficient. Predators adapt faster than platforms can respond. Madison keeps the robotics team hoodie she wore the night she disappeared. She doesn't wear it, but she can't throw it away. It represents both who she was before Derek and who she had to become after. In 24, a reporter asked Madison if she'd forgiven herself for sneaking out that night. "Mostly," Madison said. "I was a kid who made a mistake. But I also know that if I'd been a little less lonely, a little more suspicious, I would have seen through him. So I carry that not as guilt, exactly, more as a reminder that predators succeed because they're patient and we're human." The reporter asked, "What do you want people to understand about grooming?" "That it's not obvious," Madison said. "Derek didn't approach me with bad intentions written on his forehead. He approached me as a friend, and by the time I realized what he was, I was already in too deep. That's how it works. That's why it's so dangerous." Madison Reed survived, but the girl who loved robotics and dreamed of MIT died the night she got into that Nissan Altima. The woman who emerged is stronger, angrier, determined to prevent other families from experiencing what hers did. Derek Vaughn will be eligible for parole in 2048 when he's 71 years old. Madison will be 45, and she plans to attend every parole hearing for the rest of her life. The question of how we protect children in digital spaces where predators operate with impunity remains unanswered.